Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. We have a little bit of a change here in my appearance. I officially chopped all my hair off. I say all my hair, but like seriously, it was like down to here. It was getting to be just a little bit too much. So currently Monday evening, just got off work about 20 minutes ago, and I'm about to start cooking dinner. But I wanted to start a little bit of a reading vlog for the week because I haven't done one for a while. And I have a couple books this week that I'm really excited to start. I'm currently about maybe halfway through reading The Nightingale by Kristin Hannah. So while I'm like cooking dinner and everything, I'm gonna listen to the audiobook of that. But I'm also going to start reading The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson this week. That's a huge book, so I'll probably read a couple other books kind of sprinkled in, interspersed while I'm reading that one. But yeah, that's kind of like my big plan for the week, so I figured I would do a little vlog while I read that. But anyways, I'm gonna start prepping stuff for dinner. I'm making like a panko chicken thigh and some like roasted veggies and rice and stuff. So nothing too crazy, but you guys will see how it turns out. So I just popped everything in the oven. I just need to get the rice in the rice cooker. I guess I should put a timer on. Hey Siri, set a timer for 15 minutes.
15 minutes, starting now.
Cool. So that's done. But I wanted to give a bit of an update. Let's see, where am I actually at? Okay, I'm at 49% in The Nightingale. So far, I'm liking it. I am a huge fan normally of historical fiction books, like set in World War II specifically. A couple of my favorite books are set in that time period during like the Holocaust and whatnot. So I have kind of high hopes for this book because I've heard really good things about it, and it's during a time period that I enjoy reading about. But so far, like, I'd say so far if it were to end right now, I mean, that would be a really shitty ending, but if it were to end right now, I'd probably give it like a 3 or a 4 star. Like, it's good, but I think so far the first half of the book has been a lot of like kind of character development and learning what the characters are like, because it's about basically the two main characters are sisters. One of them is older and has a kid, and the other one is impulsive, and she's kind of trying to go against, like, she's trying to fight for her country basically, which is good, but it's obviously putting her into situations that could get her killed, as opposed to the older sister who is a little bit more level-headed, but she's kind of just going along with everything that the Nazis are doing. So anyways, it's good though. I'm liking it. I'm interested to see where it ends up going. So I'm gonna keep listening for a little bit while I just get the rice going here. And then I'm gonna sit down with my wine and the actual book and continue reading until dinner is ready. Ooh. Good morning, friends. It's obviously the next day. It's about 10 a.m. right now. I've just been working for the past couple hours, but I wanted to hop on and just give you guys an update where I am. I got to 70% in the Nightingale last night, and it's funny because immediately after I said like not a whole lot is going on other than character development, shit started happening. It's now gotten to the point where I almost don't want to put the book down. Like, I want to know what's gonna happen. This is gonna sound a little bit weird, but it's getting to the point in these sort of books, like books about World War II and the Holocaust and stuff, where people start dying and people start realizing like what's actually going on in terms of like the concentration camps and the amount of people that are actually dying, and they're not just being like relocated, and people are starting to figure it out. They're starting to figure out that the Nazis aren't doing what they say that they're doing, and that things are more sinister than they were led to believe. It sounds weird, but like this is kind of the point of these books that I actually start to like really enjoy is the wrong word, because it's not like an enjoyable aspect of the story, but it's where things really start to get interesting. I don't know, even that feels wrong to say. I don't know how to explain it, but it becomes more page turning. Like, you want to know what's going to happen. You want to know what the outcome is going to be to these stories, and who ends up living and who ends up dying, and it just gets to be a little bit more interesting, I guess, but also sad. Like, really, really, really sad, because inevitably there's always going to be characters that you care for that are going to die. Like, obviously in these sort of books, not everybody lives. That's just how these books are. There were some moments in what I read last night that, like, I didn't actually shed tears, but my eyes got misty, they got watery, and we're not, you know, we still have 30% left of this book, so not sure how the rest of that's gonna go down. All right, I am off work now, but I'm actually going to go try my first oxygen yoga class, which, if you don't know what oxygen yoga is, it's just hot yoga, but they have like all sorts of different classes that aren't just like regular yoga. Like, it's all sorts of hot fitness classes. So the one I'm going to tonight is like a hot box fusion sort of thing. So there's like shadow boxing, kickboxing sort of stuff. I don't think I have enough self-discipline to actually go back to the gym like a few times a week. So I think doing something like oxygen yoga, where there's actually like set classes and they have kind of like a shitty cancellation policy, like you have to cancel at least 3 hours before your class. Otherwise, you end up having to pay like $20. That's motivating enough to actually go to the classes that I like sign up for. Other than that, I got to 83% in the Nightingale, so I'm just about done. I'll probably, when I finish with my oxygen yoga class, I'll probably come home and listen to the rest of the audiobook while I like prep and cook dinner and stuff. I'm just about to head out to my class here in just a couple minutes, and I will check in with you guys in a little bit. Give me a second. This book is filled with so much sadness and loss, but then it's also filled with a lot of hope and like gratitude. Oh man, this is what I love about books that are set during not even just World War II, but books that are set in any sort of historical time period where there's a lot of death, a lot of loss, a lot of grief. 9 times out of 10 there's also just the little nuggets of hope and happiness and love. Obviously it made me feel things, which these kind of books usually do. I don't even want to talk about what I'm gonna rate this book, because I am going to rate it, but that's not immediately what I want to do. I want to like think about this and absorb everything that I've read. However, at the same time, I really do want to jump into The Way of Kings, and I kind of feel like I need to jump into another book because my heart feels heavy right now, and I need something to kind of bring me back up. I'm going to pick up The Way of Kings, which is actually just on my little bookshelf right behind me here. I'm going to pick up The Way of Kings, and I'm going to crack into that. I don't know how far I'm going to get into it. I'll probably just continue reading that until I'm sleepy and want to actually go to sleep. Good morning, friends. So it is actually a whole like 2 days later, because I just ended up not filming any sort of update yesterday. I didn't really read a whole ton, and then after I was off work, I went straight to the barn for my horseback riding lesson. And then I got home from that. Well, I stopped at the store on my way home to pick up a couple little like groceries. And then when I got home, I just didn't end up reading or anything. It was like 9:30, almost 10 o'clock, I think. And I was just tired. So yeah, we are back here on Thursday now. And I'm currently just about to pour myself some coffee, so that's what I'm doing. But I figured I'd come back on here and give a little bit of an update. I didn't read a ton yesterday, but between what I did read yesterday and what I read the night before on Tuesday night after I updated you guys last, I did end up reading a little bit of The Way of Kings. So I got my big honker of a book. Also, can we just talk about how floppy the Stormlight Archive books are? They're magnificent. Anyways, I got to page 61,
which is the beginning of chapter 3. So far, I'm quite enjoying it. The first like little bit, like the opening section, I was so confused because it's like you're starting the world building in a sense, but the way that Brandon Sanderson does his world building is it's not a ton of like info dumping, which I like. The way that he does it is more like he puts sprinkles of like information in with like what's actually going on, so it's not just a bunch of information all at once, which is great because it's less like boring. You've actually got like the story and the plot going at the same time while you're learning all this stuff, but at the same time it makes it a little bit confusing because you don't really know everything about the world yet and you don't really know exactly what's going on. So the first opening bit, I was like, oh my god, what have I gotten myself into? It's called like the prelude, I guess, and then you get the prologue, which is like 4,500 years later. In the prelude, I was just like, I don't know anything that's going on right now, and it doesn't make a ton of sense, but I'm sure it will make sense as we get through this 1,000-page book. But then, you know, you get to the prologue and that's where the actual story begins. But even then, you get the prologue and then you start like chapter 1, which ends up being like, I think it's another like 5 years later, and then chapter 2 is like another few months later or something like that. So I think now we're caught up to like present, not present day in real life, but like present day in the book. Anyways, my point being, now that I've gotten past the prelude and I'm starting to actually like understand what's going on, it's just making a lot more sense. So anyways, I'm liking it so far. I'm not very far into it, obviously, so not 100% sure what's going on, what the characters are like or anything, at least not enough to actually have an opinion about it. I think it's gonna be really good. I think this is exactly what I was looking for. I've been craving some high fantasy. Yeah, that's kind of my update for now. Oh, I did also start the audiobook for The Whisper Man by Alex North, and I'm kind of gonna be reading that interspersed with The Way of Kings, since The Way of Kings is so long. So I'll probably want to break it up a little bit, but yeah, I did start the audiobook for The Whisper Man, and again, I'm not super far into that, so I don't have a lot of thoughts on it. I'm gonna get back to work now. I'm gonna drink my coffee before it gets cold. I do have another hot yoga class later tonight, which I'm only mildly regretting, because after doing the like hot box fusion thing the other night and then horseback riding last night, I am sore. So I'll probably have to take it kind of easy in the class tonight, but that's okay. I'm still getting my body moving, and that's what matters. Good morning. It is 7:44 on my Saturday morning, and I'm gonna go work out. I am going to yet another one of my oxygen yoga classes. And I think afterwards I'm gonna take my sweaty self to the used bookstore, which is not that far from my house, and then I'm gonna come home, obviously shower, and then plunk my butt down on the couch probably for the rest of the day. I think Jesse has a hockey game later tonight, so I basically have the house to myself this evening. I think he said his game was at like maybe 7:30 or something like that. It's gonna be a pretty chill day. I'm gonna read more of The Way of Kings. I ended up getting, I think I'm somewhere around page 250 now. One thing I will say about Brandon Sanderson's books in general is he just has, like, I don't know how he comes up with all of the like cultures that he has in his books. Like there's not even just one main like group of people and a culture that you have to like learn about. There's multiple different groups of people with different cultures, and like they're so fleshed out. Like they have their own customs, they have their own like clothing, they have a way that they do their hair or their makeup, or you know, the way that they speak, just like customs that they do, like how they behave towards one another. And it's just like, I don't know what goes on in his brain that he's able to just come up with this stuff, because it is truly amazing. And I'm always impressed by like his character development too. Like that's just as in depth and fleshed out. Like all of these, I was gonna say all of the main characters, but even some of like the side characters, like you learn so much about their history, but in such like a natural way. Like it doesn't feel like it's info dumpy or anything like that. That all being said, I do feel like, I mean, I kind of knew this going in because this is a very, very high fantasy book. But if you've ever seen those like TikToks where people are like, oh, all high fantasies, like Shooby-Doop goes with Hooby-Doop, and like just comes up with a bunch of gibberish names for people and places. And I was mentioning to Jesse last night when I was reading, I was like, that's exactly what this book is. Like, I feel like I read a page and half of it is just gibberish. Like half of it is made up words or made up names. On one hand, I am starting to understand it a little bit better and better as I go on, but at the same time, none of it makes any sense because I don't know what these words are. That's my update this morning. I have to leave in about like 10 minutes for, oh, hello Simba. Yeah, no biggie. Yeah, no, I wasn't filming or anything. I just fed him and now he's all like snuggly and he wants to be close to me. Give me. Anyways, I'm going to probably sit down and snuggle this little bug for the next like 10 minutes until I have to leave for for my fitness class here. The class starts at 8:15, but it's literally like a 2-minute drive down the road. I don't need to leave until like 8 o'clock. So I have 10 minutes to snuggle my little bug. How do you not love this little fur machine? Oh my gosh, he's so sweet. He's so sweet. Anyways, I'm gonna go finish doing what I need to do. I'll update you guys probably after my fitness class when I go to the little used bookstore. And I'll let you guys know if I find anything there. Right, Simba? You say goodbye? You say goodbye? And after that very long drive, we are at the yoga studio. That was, my camera says it was like 4.5 minutes. But even that, like I was sitting in the driveway for a good minute talking, so. It didn't take long to get here. Anyways, I'm gonna go run into my class, but I will talk to you guys after. Okay.
I'm done my yoga class. This place is just like hot fitness. I have yet to do an actual like hot yoga class here. I think I have one booked on Monday. Yeah, I think I have one booked on Monday for just like a proper flow yoga. But so far I've just been doing like hot fitness classes here, and man, like look at my face. It actually doesn't look that bad on camera, but oh, you know what, like I'm actually not that red today. I'm normally way worse. Lululemon Align pants, bless these things, because they are like wet, but you can't even tell. I think you can tell from my, oh yeah. Look at this. Look at my sports bra, look how wet it is. Anyways, I'm sweaty. So that is done for the day. It's 20 after 9 now. So I got a good start to my morning, which is always nice. I doubt Jesse will even be awake or out of bed yet. So I'm going to go to the bookshop. I actually have a few books that I'm taking in to the bookstore. So I have this book here, which I never actually read. It still does intrigue me, but I've just had it on my shelf for so long and I don't actually ever see myself picking it up. The Clan of the Cave Bear by Jean M. Whatever. You can read that. I'm gonna butcher their name anyways. And then I have The Girl with All the Gifts by M.R. Carey, which I read and I enjoyed. I think I ended up giving it like a 4-star maybe. I don't foresee myself rereading it. So if I don't see myself rereading a book, I try to give it away somehow, whether I give it to a friend or my mom or my sister-in-law or take it to the bookstore or whatever. I'm also taking my copy of Tom Lake by Anne Patchett, mostly because my mom, I haven't actually read it yet, but my mom has a copy of this, so I'll just borrow hers. I actually bought this from the used bookstore already, so I didn't pay, it's not like I paid full price for it or anything. I paid $8 for it from the used bookstore, so taking it back there. What do I want to listen to? I've been loving this song lately. It's called Ghost by Josiah and the Bonnevilles. I think it might be a cover. I'm not sure, but it's amazing. I will talk to you guys in a little bit. Okay, there's a 7-Eleven down the street from my house that I just drove past, and it's just gone. Like, the building is still there, but the windows are all like papered and like the signs are all gone. What the hell? Where am I gonna go for like snacks and stuff? I used to walk there all the time in the summer to get Slurpees. Hello? What are you doing? This person in front of me has no idea where they're going. Okay. I'm actually gonna make one pit stop before I go to the bookstore because I gotta get more cat food for my cat. So I'm driving past the bookstore. Is the bookstore even open? It looked like it was closed. Maybe I'll have to look it up. Maybe it doesn't open till like 10 or something. I thought it opened early because it is a coffee shop too. So I thought they were open at like 8 or 9. I'm gonna run into the vet here quickly and go grab my cat some more food. I'll be right back. Okay, I am back. And now I need to look up and see if the bookstore is actually open. If it's not, what I'll probably do is I'll go across the street and go get a Booster Juice. Ah, they do open at 10. Okay, so I've got like 25 minutes until they open. You guys really are just coming along on my Saturday with me. I'm not gonna bother putting my music on because I'm just going literally across the street. Sometimes when we think about moving places, like Jesse and I would love to live in basically the middle of nowhere. However, it's days like this when I'm able to drive not even 10 minutes to get everything that I need. Oh, I'm also low on gas. How fun. Anyways, it's days like this when I can drive 10 minutes or less to get everything I absolutely need, like less than 10 minutes to the grocery store, less than 10 minutes to the vet, less than 10 minutes to my yoga studio. You know, it's days like that I'm like, do I really want to live in the middle of nowhere? Because that would require having to drive so much farther. Like, even going up to my parents' house, it takes them at least 20 minutes to get to their like small little grocery store. Not even a proper full size grocery store, but like the small grocery store to get like their absolute necessities. And if they want to go to like a proper grocery store, or a grocery store that isn't ridiculously expensive, then they have to drive at least like 45 minutes. And then they have to use like a cooler and everything to transport their food, to make sure that stuff that needs to stay cold stays cold. I'm gonna run into the Booster Juice and get myself a little smoothie with some extra protein in it. I got my smoothie with the protein. Although, if any of you have been to Vancouver, you know Vancouver doesn't use like plastic straws or anything anymore, which is interesting because Booster Juice normally has like these paper cups that they used to use styrofoam. They stopped using styrofoam, which is good, but they now have these paper cups that they usually use, and they give you paper straws. For some reason today I got mine in a plastic cup, and I didn't get a straw. Like, it's one of the like sippy lids thing. I think they gave me the cup that they normally use for like, because they do juices as well as smoothies, so I think they gave me one of the juice cups, so it's a little bit hard to drink my smoothie. Good thing it's not like super thick, but I only get like little bits at a time. Anyways, regardless, it's delicious. I get this strawberry sunshine if anybody wants to know, because it's the best flavor. Anyways, I'm gonna waste about 8 more minutes and then drive over to the bookstore. All right, so I was just in the bookstore for a little bit. It's only 10:30. I wasn't in there very long, but I took those other books in, got some credit for that, and we have some used bookstore successes. I found 2 books. The first one is The Book of Doors by Gareth Brown. I haven't heard a ton about this book, honestly, but I did see in one of Destiny's recent vlogs, she read this book, and I think she rated it fairly well. So thought I'd give it a go. The other book that I got is End of Story by AJ Finn. This one I literally haven't heard anybody talk about. Okay, so basically it looks like there's dual timeline in this book, and in the like present day timeline, this writer reaches out to his longtime correspondent, an expert in detective fiction, so I guess someone that like helps him to write his books, and he says, I'll be dead in 3 months, come tell my story. And like 20 years earlier in the then timeline, his first wife and teenage son went missing. So I guess the book is about finding out if it was actually like the main character, the author, who committed the perfect crime and whatnot. So the longtime correspondent is going to like get all the information from the writer and try to figure out what's going on. That's kind of the gist that I got from that. Anyways, now it's time to go home. I gotta go get gas because my gas light came on earlier. So I'm gonna go home, shower, and then sit down and read. Not those books. I don't know when I'm ever gonna get to these books, but they will be read eventually. Whether it's this year, it won't be this year because there's only like 3 months left with it. There's 2 months. There's only 2 months left of the year. Oh my God, it's November. Wow, I have a lot of books that I need to read. Not by the end of the year. I don't really care. I mean, like, I've already hit the goal that I set for myself. I set a goal to read 75 books this year. I have well surpassed that. I think I'm at like 96 now. I'll definitely be passing 100 books, which is just honestly insane to me. I read 95 books last year, so I'm already surpassing that, and I still have 2 months left of the year. I'm gonna drive home now, and I'll talk to you guys when I'm out of my shower and I'm much cleaner and I'm back in comfy clothes. I tidied up a little bit, and now I am in the process of making some banana bread, some chocolate chip banana bread, and I'll show you guys what it looks like when I put it into the oven and everything. But yeah, I'm gonna make banana bread, and then I'm also listening to the audiobook of The Way of Kings, and then I'm gonna sit down, have some coffee, and read even more. Oven off. This needs to sit and cool down for a couple minutes, and then I will take it out of the little container here and put it on a rack. Oh, it looks and smells so good. Good morning again. As you can probably tell, I just woke up and it's 7:18. And well, okay, I didn't just wake up. I woke up like 15 minutes ago, but I woke up, made myself a bowl of oatmeal. I'm gonna leave in a little bit to go to another fitness class. Plan for today: eat my breakfast. I wake up first. Second, go to my fitness class. Third, go grocery shopping for the week. Fourth, come home, shower. After that, do absolutely nothing for the rest of the day. And by absolutely nothing, I mean sit and read.
I did get a fair chunk of the way through The Way of Kings. It really doesn't look like I've read that much, but I'm currently at like page 337. So I think I'm gonna try to get to part 3 today, which is just after page 450. So I've got 110-ish pages till I get to part 3, so I should be able to get there by this evening. And then I think I'm gonna, because I haven't actually picked up The Whisperman again, probably since the last time I told you I was listening to the audiobook, I think. But I think I'm gonna get to part 3 of The Way of Kings and then pick up The Whisperman again and try to finish that one. I won't finish it today at all, but I think I just need, not that I need a break from The Way of Kings, because I'm really enjoying it actually, but my brain needs a bit of a break because there's so much going on in The Way of Kings that my brain sort of needs to like process all of it still. Because I find with these sort of high fantasy books, if I just read and read and read and read and read, the information starts going in one ear and out the other. Like, I just can't retain anything. I need to take a little brain break from reading that book, so. Anyways, I'm gonna finish eating my oatmeal before it gets cold. And then I'm gonna go to my fitness class. Hello, friends. So I think it's actually been a few days since I last updated. Mostly because I actually haven't been reading a ton the last couple days. And what I have read, like nothing really new is going on. I did end up getting to part 3 of The Way of Kings. I think it's around like I think it's around like 450-ish pages in. So we're just about halfway through The Way of Kings, which is crazy. I honestly never in my life did I think that I would ever be reading a book that was like 1,000 pages long. But aside from that, I've taken a pause, now that I've reached part 3 of The Way of Kings, and, oh, my Kindle just randomly restarted. I was about to show you guys that I was reading The Whisperman, but now it's restarting randomly. Love that. Okay. Well, okay, there we go. Oh, it's installing an update. Awesome. Okay, well, anyways, I'm also listening to the audiobook so I can see how far into it I am. I'm about 37% into The Whisperman, and now I feel like I need to give an update on that because I'm going to try to finish The Whisperman before I go back into The Way of Kings, because it's honestly a fairly short book. I have horseback riding after work, but when I get home from that, I'll continue reading as well. I might even be able to, how much time do I actually, I'll probably be able to finish The Whisperman today. Hopefully, fingers crossed, unless I get like super distracted. But the reason that I decided to pick my camera up at this point is because, like, if you know me, you know that I love reading thrillers. I read a ton of thriller books, and like even throw in some horror there. Like, I love Stephen King and stuff too. But because I read so many thriller books, it's rare that any of them really give me, like, the ick feeling, like the, like, skin crawly, creepy sort of feeling, because I think I'm almost at this point just, like, desensitized to it. But y'all, The Whisper Man is giving me, such skin crawling, creepy feelings. I hate it, but I love it at the same time. Like, I love feeling, like, icked out. Like, I was reading it the other night and I had to put it down because I was starting to get, like, creeped out, and I had to, like, turn my fan on in my bedroom so that there was, like, white noise, so I wasn't just listening to, like, the creaks and sounds that, like, houses make, because everything was just, like, freaking me out. And as much as I hate that, but I also love it. Anyways, so yeah, that's where I'm at now. I'm quite liking it, honestly. I kind of was going into The Whisper Man with zero expectations. Like, I've heard good things, but it's been a while since I actually saw someone reading it or talking about it. So, and now my Kindle is just about done updating here. So, yeah. I am currently working, so I'm not actually, like, reading. I'm just listening to the audiobook while I work. But yeah, those are my thoughts. I'm liking it so far. I'm intrigued to see what the heck is going on. It's creeping me right out. I should have read this book, like, before Halloween or, like, on Halloween. But it's fine. It's, what day is it? It's November 6th. So we're still right in that, like, cozy, creepy sort of time of year. Good morning. So I know I'm in the exact same spot that I was it yesterday? Yeah, I think it was yesterday that I updated. But I ended up finishing The Whisper Man last night after I came home from horseback riding, and I ended up giving it a 4-star just because by the end of it, I felt like the end was kind of rushed, honestly. I liked the idea of it, but I think there was just some things that could have been a bit more refined in the way that the story was told. I have a hard time expressing my thoughts. I feel like I have so many different thoughts going around in my brain, and then when I actually go to, like, film my thoughts, I have no idea what I was thinking. Yeah, I just feel like there was a few things that could have been a little bit more refined in terms of the backstory for the characters and kind of, like, where everything sort of stemmed from. Like, we never really get a full picture as to why the Whisper Man was killing kids. It's also hard to give my full thoughts because I don't want to spoil anything either. But yeah, there was just a few things that I thought we needed maybe a little bit more of an explanation for, or we needed to dive a little bit further. And then there was also some little aspects that I'm like, this didn't really contribute much of anything to the story. But that being said, I still liked the premise of the book, and I liked that it gave me, like, the creeps and the chills a little bit. That got a little bit less so towards the end of the book. Like, I didn't get as much of the creeps from it, but it was really good in the beginning. Yeah, so I think I landed on 4 stars with that. And then today, while it's a little bit slow at work, I'm also jumping back into The Way of Kings, starting at part 3 here. And I want to mention as well, throughout the first, like, whatever, 450 pages or so here, we have essentially learned, I mean, we've learned a lot, but right now we're focusing on one of the characters. She has become like a ward for a scholar. So basically she's almost like, I guess you would equate it to kind of like a mentorship or an apprenticeship maybe. And she's learning how to become a scholar and stuff. And one thing that I find super interesting, the way that they communicate with people at a far distance. Like, obviously, this day and age, we have cell phones and regular phones, and we can call and text people. But the way that they do it is they basically write on, like, a sheet of parchment paper, and that transmits to a faraway place to someone else that also has a sheet of parchment paper, and it like appears as text on the paper so that the other person can read. So they're kind of like texting each other, but it's actually written out. Almost like if you have watched Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, it's almost like when Harry is writing in Tom's diary and Tom is writing back. It like that's what I picture in my brain. And to go along with that, what's super interesting is, like, in normal, regular history, way back in the day, it was very, very uncommon for women to know how to read and write. And it was, like, not really acceptable at that point for women to know how to read and write. It was only the men that could do that. But in this book, it's the other way around. So it's deemed like an unworthy attribute for a man, I guess, to know how to read and write. So when they're doing these sort of things like communicating, or when they need to read from tomes or books or whatever, if a man needs to do any of that stuff, they have to have a woman come in and read to them or write for them. So when they're communicating to each other through these parchments, a woman has to come and actually do the writing and like read the responses out to the man and whatnot. So it's just interesting. It's cool that like Brandon Sanderson has sort of changed that from real history. I think it's interesting that women have a bit more of a purpose in that aspect. Anyways, those are my thoughts thus far. I'm going to get back to it because I'm actually a super interesting part.
Good choice. I gave this book 4 stars. I really liked it. In this book, we're following Noelle, and she is grieving the loss of her grandmother.
Hello, friends. It is currently Friday at about 3 p.m. I had a little bit of a sleep in this morning because I'm not working today. I had the day off because we have Remembrance Day on Monday because it's November 11th. And I took the Friday off because I wanted to give myself a bit of an extra long weekend. So I had a bit of a sleep in this morning, and then I went to a hot Pilates class, and now I've come home, I've had my shower, and I've sat down to read for a little bit. But I think it's been about 2 weeks now since I actually started this vlog, so I've actually just hopped on here to end the vlog here because I realized that at first I was going to keep going until I finished at least one more book, but I realized that in the very beginning of this vlog I actually also finished The Nightingale. It just feels crazy because it feels like I read that so long ago, but it was only like 2 weeks ago. So I finished 2 books in this vlog. I finished The Nightingale and I finished The Whisper Man, and I'm currently on page 657 out of just over 1,000 of The Way of Kings. So I am well on my way to finishing that book as well. If I try to finish that book in this vlog, it'll just be a million years long. So I think I'm gonna end this vlog here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for being here, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.